the key storytelling, the key to mHealth marketing success. This tracks the Modalic white paper, Tell Stories, Drive Sales. To download a copy of this white paper, visit the show notes on the podcast on the Modalic website. The podcast will give you the audio track for the white paper. Okay, let's get started with a story. Not any old story, but one of the most successful marketing stories ever told. Here's how it goes. On a beautiful late spring afternoon 25 years ago, two men graduated from the same college. They were very much alike, these two young men. Both had been better than average students, both were personable, and both, as young college graduates are, were filled with ambitious dreams for the future. Recently, these men returned to their college for their 25th reunion. They were still very much alike, both were happily married, both had 3 kids, and both, it turned out, had gone to work for the same Midwestern manufacturing company after graduation, and they were both still there. But there was a difference. One of the men was manager of a small department in that company. The other was its president. What made the difference? This direct mail letter, produced by the Wall Street Journal, goes on to describe how the knowledge and expertise in its paper made the difference between the two men. The Wall Street Journal mailed the two men's story for over 26 years and generated over $1 billion in sales revenue. Why was this promotion so successful? Simple, the story. The story took a core benefit of the Wall Street Journal's product, which was expert knowledge, and they placed it into context with 2 relatable characters and a plot that resonated to create a need with its prospects. Now here's another story. The Ant and the Grasshopper. It's an ancient fable with similarities to the two men's story. One of the men is the grasshopper, the other is the ant. The Ant and the Grasshopper story delivers a particular lesson for today's mHealth characters, and as we'll learn, that makes all the difference. In a field one summer's day, a grasshopper was hopping about, chirping and singing to its heart content. An ant passed by, bearing along with great toil an ear of corn that he was taking to the nest. "Why not come and chat with me," said the grasshopper, "instead of toiling and moiling in that way?" "I'm helping to lay up food for the winter," said the ant, "and recommend you do the same." "Why bother about winter?" said the grasshopper. "We've got plenty of food at present." But the ant went on its way and continued its toil. When the winter came, the grasshopper had no food and found itself dying of hunger, while it saw the ants distributing every corn and grain from the stores they had collected in the summer. Then the grasshopper knew it's best to prepare for the days of necessity. Great stories stand the test of time. Great stories endure. Great stories spark emotion and action. Even thousands of years later, an ancient fable provides a timeless lesson for people of all ages. Both of these stories provide a simple fact. The best story wins. A great story keeps winning. Tom Peters, the Hall of Fame management guru and author of Search of Excellence, says this about the power of story in brand building and marketing. "Story is more important than brand. The best story wins. I am simply, unabashedly, out loud, screaming and shouting, saying, focus on the quality of your storytelling. Turn that complex idea into storytelling." Mobile health today presents tremendous opportunity and significant changes. It's the best of times, and it's the worst of times. The question is, will you seize the opportunity with wisdom or foolishly miss the opportunity? It's clear the mHealth world has arrived, and it's expected to grow rapidly. Unfortunately, rapid growth rarely comes without growing pains. In addition to the presence and adoption of smartphone technology and use, the Affordable Care Act mandates improved patient-centered care and communication. With the re-election of President Obama, the debate about the Affordable Care Act is over. Compliance with the Affordable Care Act provisions is now a reality for healthcare providers in the upcoming years. Yes, it may be the best of times for those who are able to create and deliver innovative, effective mHealth technology solutions, but all is not perfect. Patient privacy, regulatory issues, and basic scientific assessment issues surrounding mHealth applications are the inherent challenges facing the industry as a whole. Yet oftentimes, the biggest challenge for mHealth technology companies is telling their untold story. It's natural for the mHealth solutions provider to feel comfortable with the technology. You've had a vision, an insight, something that moved you to develop your mHealth product or service. You enjoy talking about your product, your service, and the technology behind it. There's nothing wrong with your product or service. It's innovative. It's effective. It works. Perhaps it's even elegant in its design and simplicity. But is this the story your prospect wants to listen to? Will this story delight him or her? Will a story about your product or service features connect with your prospect? Your prospects are going to buy mHealth solutions. The big question is, will they buy from you? Healthcare providers and networks have a problem. They know adopting better patient communication care tools are required. Your mHealth solutions may very well be the ideal answer for your particular prospect's needs. You must prepare to break through all the noise in the marketplace. It's best to engage and educate your prospects about how your solution addresses their problems. You must emotionally connect to move your prospects to take action to buy your solution. The story of how your solution improved lives, made healthcare experiences more enjoyable, or simplified complicated tasks helps create this emotional connection and create context. Without it, you're just like everyone else. Telling your story is a necessity, so let's talk about the power of storytelling in marketing. Children throughout the ages, in every culture, delight in expressing themselves with dance, music, drawing, and are fascinated with listening to and telling stories. Yet as we grow older and develop more left-brain skills, such as rational thinking, math, and logic, this creativity and freedom of expression becomes suppressed. We toil away at what earns us money and puts food on the table. Oftentimes, we become too busy to listen to, discover, and tell our own stories. We view storytelling as a lost art, a special gift. There's no right or wrong marketing story. Every company has a story waiting to be found, waiting to be told. The failure is simply not telling it, keeping your story untold, because you don't know how to tell it. Maybe you don't know where to get started writing your story. Or you don't have the creative confidence to put together an interesting plot and cast of characters. But effective stories, ones that connect and spark emotions within its audience, do follow a formula. Knowing how to effectively tell your story can turn your dream of success into a growth-filled, profitable reality. Seth Godin, today's voice of digital marketing, says this about storytelling. A good story is where genuine customer satisfaction comes from. It's the source of growth and profit, and it's the future of your organization. Now let's look at the elements of your epic mHealth story. Every great story follows a structure. Let's explore the purpose of this structure and the elements found within them to help you craft your authentic story. First, the opening. It's important to nail the opening and grab attention fast. People today come to a quick conclusion about messages, especially online. You must, in the blink of an eye, capture and draw your audience, your prospect, into your story. It provides the mood, the tone, and the plot basis for your story. The opening is the hook to get the reader to keep reading, the listener to keep listening, and the viewer to keep watching. Recall your favorite books, movies, or stories. How do they begin? What makes the opening effective? Next, you introduce and develop characters. Every great story includes interesting, yet real and authentic characters. The classic formula is the hero, or heroine, battling the villain. The villain can be another person, nature, a system, an injustice, or even an internal struggle such as a life-threatening disease or illness. When crafting your marketing story, planning and fleshing out your character personas is vital. You need detailed descriptions of your characters and the struggles, problems, and challenges they face. Now, the characters and their problems must be put into context. It must be real and authentic. The detailed description of the place and setting puts your prospect into the story. You transport them from where they are into your world. These three elements provide the structure your mHealth marketing story needs to focus the customer's pain. It paints the scene of what the ordinary world is dealing with, but provides a glimmer of hope of a new way. Great mHealth stories don't talk about technology. They tell the story of how the technology changed or saved the real person's life. Now that you've grabbed attention, set the scene, introduced your character and his problem, and placed him in a setting, it's time to go deeper and explore the problem and how to overcome it. In this part of your story, you're establishing a new vision for your customer. You're showing how there are new solutions available. It's a focus on best practices. Finally, your story concludes with the triumph of human spirit. Your prospects want solutions to their problems. Your story shows how your product and service delivers solutions. It doesn't get bogged down in explaining technical aspects and features. The story simply shows your product or service working. This is the victory. You reveal the new world of success on how you meet the challenges of the problem. Here's where you would introduce actual case studies and client success stories. interviews with actual clients or patients help tell your story from another perspective. Imagine the impact this type of authentic, real storytelling could potentially make on the prospects of an mHealth technology provider. Perhaps your story is dramatic or even personally painful. You do have a story to tell. Your story reflects the pulse of your business. Your story captures your unique ups and downs, your starts and stops. Creating mobile software solutions requires an agile approach. The client doesn't know what they really want or need. They are unable to envision or even describe the technology that will make a difference for them. You're not sure what will work and what clients and patients will use and how they will use it until you get it out in the market. You must be flexible and agile with your product and service development. The same applies to your story. You, and only you, can create your story. Let's explore the process involved in creating your epic story. You'll find this process familiar. It mirrors your own agile workflow process. It starts with research and development. During the research and development phase is where the seeds of your marketing story are planted. There are nuggets of marketing gold to be mined here. Discover your strengths that emerge for you and your business that you can champion. You'll also find weaknesses you can poke fun at to show you're humble and human. There is passion and often many starts and stops involved in this journey. In the same vein, marketing research forms the foundation to build your epic story. The epic story is the vision of opportunity, the expected challenges, and the ultimate success of your brand. Next, you hit pre-launch mode. Now that your product or service is tested and works, you need a plan to get to market. Just as you test your products and services before you launch into the market, it's a smart idea to test your stories to make sure they resonate with your prospects. Get your ideas out there, get your products into the market, prepare to react quickly. Finally, you've launched your product into the market. The adrenaline is pumping and the heartbeat, the pulse of your business is racing. It's an exciting time with lots happening. Things are moving fast. Your marketing story must also move fast too. Your story must be spread quickly and effectively. Define success in simple terms. Start your story with how your prospect will achieve success. Respond to change quickly, but don't change the core of your story. After the launch phase, it's time to step back, slow down, and evaluate your story. Evaluate what works, and more importantly, what doesn't work, and retool for the next step in the journey. Reflect on the starts, the stops, and the struggles. Champion the victories as a way to cement long-term brand engagement with your story, your company, and your product. What part resonates with your audience? What marketing tactics and elements of your story need a tweak? Where are the success stories? What client victories can you celebrate? And what stories can you tell in case studies, interviews, and webinars? Yes, you and only you can tell your marketing story, no matter what phase of product or service development you're currently in. Getting your story right is critical to the life of your business. Behind each and every company, each and every innovation, a vivid, rich body of stories is waiting to be told. Your story is the most powerful way to communicate the message about who you are, why your company exists, and how you help make life better for others. Do you know that in Papua New Guinea, amongst all the culture, story is a verb? When people get together, they actually plan to story. They make social dates to story. It's the most important way to communicate and learn about each other. Will you story your way to $1 billion in sales? Your story makes all the difference. I invite you to download the Tell Stories, Drive Sales ebook. Again, you'll find the download link along with the show notes for this podcast at the Modelic.com website.